What's up, YouTube? So today's topic, I'm gonna talk about the reasons why most tarot readers and most spiritualists are scammers, and they're useless when it comes to their videos and content. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start with tarot readers. So one, a lot of tarot readers, um, they're very useless. Is because have you noticed a lot of tarot channels, a lot of their videos, they always talk about the same thing or something that's very similar. Yes, they can be accurate, and there are some that are legit, but for the most part, most of them are full of shit because one, why the fuck that most tarot readers, how come they all talk about the same fucking topic over and over again? They always talk about relationships. They always talk about what your ex is doing, and they always talk about your connections. What the fuck does that have to do with actual life? They don't talk about like tarot video, like readings about your career, about your abusive family, how to get away from them, about like society, about societal issues, about what's blocking your money manifestations, what's blocking your mental health. They don't talk about shit like that because they can't. They don't have the capacity to make videos about that. All they talk about, they can and are capable of talking about is what the fuck your ex is doing or how do people view you. Some shit that don't really fucking matter. It's entertainment. The reason why they do this is because um they have no real skill or talent. They're just very intuitive. That's it. Just because you're intuitive doesn't mean you're smart. Intuitive basically means you're very sensitive to energy, but you can be sensitive to energy and not have certain access to knowledge or certain common sense to certain things. But it's kind of like sketchy or fishy when a lot of tarot fucking channels, they all talk about the same fucking thing. How come they all talk about what your ex is doing, how do people view you, how does your ex view you, new love coming in. They always talk about love and romance. They all do. Damn near like 100% of them. So I'm like, what the fuck are they? Are they like? Is this shit legit? And it pissed me off because it's like there's people that actually fall for this shit. They have like a large subscriber count. They have like 100,000 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers. They're making money off of that. They're getting profit off of that. I'm like, how the fuck are they making videos about life situations that aren't even fucking true? And they're feeding off of people's codependency and they're making their emotions feel good, but there's no real genuine help or concern, or they don't give a fuck about them. They're just trying to make money off of them. And yet people fall for that. Like people send them donations, people comment, people like the videos, they subscribe them, they subscribe to their Patreons. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, are they doing like, I don't fall into like new age spirituality when people talk about fucking witchcraft or dark magic. To be honest, I don't know what the fuck these terms mean, but I'm starting to really think these are real because I'm pretty sure dark magic or black magic means like you're using a certain type of energy to attract your audience by manipulating them. So I'm assuming that's what it means, and if that's the case, then yeah, I personally do think they use that to a certain extent. I'm not hating or anything, but it's just it pissed me off because it's like I used to watch these people, I used to subscribe to them, and like looking back, I'm like, now that I'm older, now that I have more life experience, now that I'm doing the healing work to improve my life, I'm like, yo, this is bullshit. Like this is fucking ridiculous. And people that are older than me, people that have been there for fucking years, they're so subscribed to this shit. I'm like, okay, so either their audience are not authentic and they're not doing the healing work, and they have a very trashy, shitty audience that doesn't really give a fuck about those creators. They're just watching them for a source of entertainment, and they give them money off of it, which I find. I mean, do what you gotta do to make money. People commit crimes to make money. People rape children to make money. People do child trafficking for money. So do what you gotta do in this world. I'm not saying it's right, um yeah, it's just fucking strange to me. Like I don't like most spiritual videos and tarot readings, they're useless to me. And it pissed me off a lot because they're all the same. Like there's no one that's unique. There's no one that is legit. They have no substance to their fucking videos. I'm like, they're not really helping. And there's and now when it comes to spiritual channels, a lot of spiritual channels I've noticed these people they're either very high or they use ayahuasca or like they get so many fucking downloads from different realms and realities is that sometimes when they make, or most of the times when they make videos, they're not accurate. Either they get their information from a source of government information that's been pushed out for an agenda that the government purposely wants to push out, or they're just talking off of some shit that's not even true, but they're just talking about it and they have a lot of videos about it. Is because they're getting some type of downloads or intuitive thoughts about from a different realities or from different parts of their fucking mind and stuff like that, because they're very sensitive and stuff like that. So they're able to talk about random shit pretty much. This is why, like, a lot of spiritualists, if you look at their videos, the shit they talk about has no real meaning and it just sounds good. That's it. Even if they make videos about changing this world or the things that this world needs to be done, they themselves don't even do the same fucking change that they preach. They don't even take action. They don't do shit. You know what I'm saying? But yet they want to tell people to do this and that. Motherfucker, they don't even do that shit. You know? So they're just talking out their asses. They do a lot of lip service, and people really fall into that shit. Yeah, even with astrology and shit like that, like people always talk about astrology and this and that, like it's not that deep. Astrology is basically proof that we don't have free will to a certain extent, but for the most part, that's all you need to know, you know. But they go in detail about astrology, like they overcomplicate a lot of shit. They overcomplicate a lot of shit that doesn't really need to be overcomplicated, you know. Like like a lot of spiritualists, they overthink a lot. They overthink. They just overthink a lot. They have a lot of anxiety, you know. And they project their own belief systems onto the people, you know. Even over the years, like spiritual channels that used to have like a large following or people used to love them, fast forward, the videos that they talk about is just all new age, and it's been reported that all the scenarios they're talking about, all of the what's the word, all of the predictions they're making never came true. And that's the same shit with tarot readers. A lot of tarot readers, they'll make up false predictions or false hope on if your ex is going to come back to your life, or like if your past connections are to come back to your life, and it's false. They don't know what they're talking about. It's just all bullshit. Yeah, and if you are making videos, if you're making videos and like 900,000 fucking people watch your videos, yeah, at least one prediction is bound to be right. So of course people are going to fall into it, or at least they're going to relate to it. But that's not what it is. What it is that they just, these people, they feel entertained and they make their emotions feel good because they're very emotionally fucking fragile. They're not doing the fucking healing work. So they use tarot and spirituality as a way for them to get comfort. This is why a lot of spiritual channels, a lot of tarot channels, they get so much fucking they have so much viewers, subscribers, and they make money off of it, you know. Like, and they're very creative with it. Like, so for example, you see spiritual channels, they talk about videos like signs you're the chosen one, or they always say chosen ones. They always talk about gang stalking. They always talk about the humiliation ritual. What the fuck is a humiliation ritual? You know, it's a new word that a lot of Gen Z are making up, these terms and words that has no real meaning, but it's just, and that's the thing too. A lot of spiritual channels, they copy off of one another. This is why you see a lot of spiritual channels, they talk about the same topics. They talk about astrology. They talk about the chosen ones. They talk about these different terms like humiliation ritual. Same thing with tarot videos, with tarot channels. They all talk about what your ex is doing. They all talk about how people view you. They all talk about how people view you. Just stuff like that. They all talk about the same shit. And then that's how you know that they have no real creativity. They don't know what they're doing. They're just making videos so they can entertain people and they can feed off of their suffering, so they can profit off of them. That's basically what the fuck they're doing. I wish I could break this down at a much more easier way for people to understand. But I can't find the right words, but because my mouth is not keeping up with my mind. But basically, just know that a lot of tarot channels and a lot of spiritual channels, they don't know what they're talking about. They do not know what they're talking about. Yes, they are sensitive. Yes, they have intuition. They are intuitive. But just because you're sensitive and you're intuitive does not mean you know a lot of shit. You don't. They're just the average person that you see outside. They're no different, except they just make fucking videos because they're bored. That's it, or they're trying to make money. Another thing too. A lot of don't get fooled. Just because like a lot of tarot channels and a lot of spiritual channels, just because they have a large following, just because they have a lot of subscribers and they make a lot of money and they're very well known, just because they have those things does not mean they're good people. Does not mean they're actually healed. Does not mean that they're fucking stable, mentally stable. I've just, it's easy to tell just by observing them, and just I've interacted with them as well. I've interacted with a few tarot channels and people who have a large following within their tarot channels. I've interacted with tarot readers. I've interacted with a lot of people who were very spiritual. They had a lot of spiritual information, spiritual knowledge, and even a large following within their channels. But when I interacted with them, when I was talking to them a lot of them have a lot of trauma. They don't take accountability. They don't realize how their trauma is affecting them. They're very dismissive, avoidant, and they don't understand their trauma. They don't understand it, either that and or they don't want to face it. They don't have the strength or balls to face their fucking trauma. A lot of spiritualists, a lot of tarot readers have a lot of trauma. I'm starting to think that a lot of females, especially if they do tarot all day within their videos, then they have mental health issues, because it makes sense, because whenever I talk to them, they always have a mental health issue. They're always fucked up, you know. And I understand every human being has a mental health issue. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how like they don't have the strength to heal themselves, or they lack self-awareness is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, but also you can have a lot of spiritual information. You can know about you can have a lot of spiritual knowledge, but if you're not doing the healing work, if you're not actually experiencing life, if you're not facing your trauma, then these people, they're pretty much useless. They don't know what they're talking about, or what they're saying is not authentic, or they burn a lot of connections, and they're not really tapped in like that. And I've spoken to people like that. I've spoken to people who have a lot of spiritual knowledge. I've spoken to people who have a lot of spiritual information. And let me tell you, just because they have a lot of spiritual information does not mean they're right. Does not mean they're actually authentic. They're not, because their trauma overrides all the fucking knowledge that they naturally have. True spirituality is healing your trauma. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter. Every human being has intuitive thought. Every human being has self-awareness. That's no different than having a fucking tarot channel and having spiritual videos. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's no different than that. What real true fucking alignment is fucking healing your trauma, acknowledging it, because the reason why, because a lot of people have a lot of trauma. That's why. And that's why the world is the way it is, or at least part of it. And that's why there's so much like domestic violence, broken family households, a lot of people who aren't well in the mind. Well, one is because of the society and the people who rule over this as well. That plays a role. Society does play a role in people's mental health issues, but also people, their lack of taking responsibility for the healing and their lack of willpower and strength to heal and face their traumas. That's the issue that society in this world is dealing with as well. Especially in America, because in America, we have a lot of influence and power, but if you have a lot of access to information and resources, but if human beings aren't willing to face their trauma, then they're not really doing any good to this fucking world. So, that's all I gotta say. Have a good one. Peace. Actually, hang on, I'm not gonna end this. So, a lot of spiritual channels as well, they love mainstream shit. They love to push out mainstream. People use spirituality as for them to escape. They also use it to give them an ego boost, or they use spirituality to give them a false sense of ego. This is why people think they could talk down or look down, or they think that they're better than someone just because they have a lot of spiritual information, or because they use new age spiritual words like terminology and shit like that, and they think they look down on people, or just because they have a certain diet or they eat a certain way or something like that, they think they're better over someone. It's reality, like, no, it doesn't work like that, but they think they do, because like I said, a lot of people who fall into spirituality, either people who are into spirituality or who make a lot of spiritual videos or who make tarot videos, they have a lot of mental health issues. They're very damaged fucking people. and they use spirituality as for them to escape. So which makes sense, because if that's the case, then most tarot readers, most spiritualists, if they have fucked up, if these people are fucked up, then of course they're gonna attract fucked up people, and there's a lot of fucked up people in this world. And when I say fucked up, I meant like mental health issues, them not willing to heal their trauma and stuff like that. That makes sense. So it's a domino effect, right? Whereas people, you have people who actually make real content, people make real videos. It's hard for them to gain traction because they're actually doing the healing work. They're actually facing themselves. They're not using their videos to comfort people, to have some sort of entertainment. No, their videos are actually useful and it actually works in real life. And it's hard for people. It's hard for them to attract a lot of people and to make money because less people are doing the healing work, which makes sense, right? This is why, like, you see like a lot of spiritualists as well, or people who are into spirituality, they all use new words and new terminology like humiliation ritual, Moors, Sirius Sun, Anunnaki, um this corny shit like that, man. And they think they know what it is, but in reality they got that source of information from the government. So it's like, and the government is very narcissistic, very evil, and they always think 2 steps ahead of people. So like, and they think they know something because they got something from the fucking government. So like, a lot of people who are spiritual, they have a lot of ego. They're very arrogant, and just because they think or act or know certain information that they got from another source, they think they're better than people because they have a lot of mental health issues, and they use that spirituality as a way for them to escape and as for them to form a some type of sense of ego and identity to move in this world, pretty much. So that's all I gotta say. Have a good one. Peace.